Hi, PreCalculus, welcome back. Here's number 3, that y is equal to 2 sine 3x. All right, any reflection for this one? Do you see a negative out front? No. So it's not reflected. Does it have an amplitude change? Yes, that's your vertical stretch. So we're stretching it by 2. That means we're going to go 2 above the midline, 2 below the midline. Does this one have a period changer? Yes, it does. So our normal period would be 2 pi, but this one says to multiply it by 3. Be careful though, it's a horizontal change, right? It's inside the function. Horizontal change, we're going to do the opposite of what it says. Instead of dividing or multiplying by 3, we're going to divide by 3. And what that means is we got to have one full period, one full phase of sine before we get to 2 pi. So between 2 pi over 3 and 2 pi over 3, I've got to have one full cycle. Another way of thinking about it is in 2 pi, I've got to have 3 full cycles like this. So I should see 3 waves just like this between 0 and 2 pi. All right, does this one have a phase shift? Nope, nothing back here inside the function, so no phase shift and no vertical shift because there's nothing out here outside of the function. And that means our midline stays right there at y equals 0. So let's try to graph this one. So here's my midline right on the x-axis. Notice they did us a favor here by changing these guys that we needed here. So as I said, normally we would have one full cycle of sine between 0 and 2 pi. It would go up, and it would come down, and then go back up. But we need to make it happen between 0 and 2 pi over 3, which means halfway between those 2 points, it's going to go back to 0. And then halfway between these 2 points and these 2 points is where it goes up and where it goes down. Our amplitude is 2, so instead of just going up to 1, we're going to go up to 2, and then we're going to go down to 2. So there's one full cycle, but I'm going to keep it going. So at the next one, we'd be up at 2, back to 0, down to 2, back to 0, up to 2, 0, down to 2, 0. And so notice that makes 1, 2, 3 full cycles of sine over the course of 2 pi. So 3 cycles in 2 pi, or you can think of it as it completes one full cycle in 2 pi over 3. All right, backing this up the other direction, just so we can make a nice pretty graph. Maybe, here we go, up to 2, 0. This board does not like to make small dots, unfortunately. All right, there we go. So we got a good idea that it looks something like this. Uh-oh, got a little pointy there. There is our graph. All right, number 3. This one's got a couple things going on. Just like the last one, we've got an amplitude change, but this time we've got a phase shift change instead of a period change. All right, reflection, no negative sign out front, so no reflection. Our amplitude is going to be 3 halves. That means we go 3 halves above the midline, 3 halves below the midline. This time, do we have a period changer? Is there anything in front of x? No, so my period is going to be 2 pi. But this pi over 2 that's inside the function behind the x is my horizontal shift. And so just like all of my horizontal transformations, we're going to do the opposite of what it says. It says to go to the right pi over 2. Instead, I'm going to go to the left pi over 2. So I'm going to say left pi over 2, or you can say negative pi over 2. All right, does it have a vertical shift? Anything happening out here? Nope, so it's not going to shift up or down, which means the midline is going to stay right there at y equals 0. All right, so here's my midline. My period is still 2 pi, but we're shifting everything to the left, pi over 2. So instead of starting my cosine, where does cosine start? Normally cosine starts at 1, goes down and up, right? Well, it was really fast. Let me try this again. It goes down, 0, something like that. But we're going to take this graph and we're going to shift it over so that this point here that was at 0, 1 becomes negative pi over 2 over 1. This point here at pi over 2 is going to end up being here. This point over here would be here. That gives you an idea. And then we're back to our midpoint and back to our head point. Is that exactly what it's supposed to be? No, why not? Because we don't have our amplitude change in there. What are we multiplying those ones by? 3/2, right? So instead of it being at 1, I'm going to move it to 3/2, which is 1.5. So my amplitude changes it to 1.5 on either side. There we go. So then we move back to 0, down to negative 3/2, back to 0, we're back to 0, negative 3/2, 0, positive 3/2, 0, and that looks something like, whoops, that. All right, what's our, oh, I forgot the domain and range. Domain for both of these is what? Negative infinity to positive infinity for all sine and cosines. No domain restriction right there. Our range, though, is going to be our minimum and our maximum points. For this one, it was negative 2, 2. For the one we just did here, we had negative 3/2, positive 3/2. Don't forget you need brackets because we're going through those points. All right, that's it for 3 and 4. When I come back, I will do 5 and 6 on the next video. Bye!